Okay, guys, so welcome to class tonight. We're back. I'm super excited to have you guys. I've missed painting with y'all, so this is going to be really fun. This is our painting tonight. It is a doozy. It's super abstract and colorful and whimsical, and it's going to have us bouncing all around the canvas and mixing all kinds of fun colors. So I can't wait to get started on that with you. So let me just go over a few things before we get started, and while some more people are logging on, I know I think I'm going to have a couple of people coming on a little bit later. So if you don't mind, go ahead and mute yourself. If you don't know how to do that, it's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. You can just run your arrow over the little mute button and click it. It's next to your video button. There we go, Kim. So that way everybody is muted, and if you have a question, just unmute and chat with me, okay? That's super helpful. I used to just mute everybody at one time, but then I found if you had a question, you couldn't ask me. You had to do a crazy dance to get my attention, and nobody wants to do that. So this is a lot better. So just go ahead, yeah, mute yourself. Great, everybody's muted. That's awesome. But once again, if you ever have a question or a comment or anything, just unmute and chat. It's all good, okay? It's all good with me. Okay, so if you want to, you can put your video on so I can see your lovely faces. Don't feel like you have to, but you're more than welcome to. I love watching you guys paint, and I like to see where you're at, if you're with your family, if you're in your kitchen, if you're outside. All of you have such different settings tonight, so this is really exciting. Very cool. Okay. All right, okay, so I think that's everybody. Awesome. Okay, so let me walk you through kind of just the setup, the way we're gonna do it, the way I do it, and then you can decide if that works for you. I have my canvas right in front of me. This is portrait position. This is landscape position. You can choose what you wanna do. You know, you can always paint the painting this way, and you can topple your flowers off to the side, whatever you wanna do, but I'm gonna teach them portrait position. So make sure that it's sitting in front of you in that position so that when you start painting, you're already good to go. Right next to me, I am right-handed, so I put my water cup right next to me, and then I have a paper towel right here as well. So I just fold a paper towel in half, I sit it right next to me, I put my water right there, and this is what my palette looks like tonight. Okay, so I have my white and my black next to each other, and then I kind of just go around a color wheel. So I have my purple, red, yellow, green, and blue. Let me see, I'm on my big computer tonight, so I don't know that I can actually like bend that down to show you. So this is kind of what it looks like. So you guys have those little tubs, and so what I recommend doing is either getting a plastic spoon or a plastic knife or whatever, and you can use that to scoop out your paint, or you can just tap it on the side of your plate and put it out that way. Now I will tell you, you don't want to put out all of your paint. You're going to want to save some. If you get tired tonight and you need to take a break, you can always go back at this tomorrow. I'm going to be recording it, so I'm happy to send it to anybody, but that way you have leftover paint and you can keep working. The other thing you can do if you've made a beautiful palette tonight and you have used all your paint but you haven't finished your painting, is you can just put a piece of like press and seal or saran wrap around your plate, and it'll keep the air off of it. And so that's a great way to preserve your paint as well, okay? So like I said, you might just wanna put about half of your paint, okay? We're gonna be using the most white tonight. That's really gonna be what we're gonna use to mix all of our colors. So you're gonna want the most white. You're gonna want the tiniest bit of black. We'll probably use a lot of red, a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue, a little bit of green. So worst comes to worst, if you can't get it out of your tubs, because I know those things are kind of annoying, you can always dip your brush right into those and put it out on your palette as well as we work too, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a minute to kind of get that set up, and I'll talk at you for a minute too while you're getting set up. I'm gonna scroll up here and just see how everybody's doing. Those of you with Ultimate Paint Kits, I do believe I've sent everybody a picture of the palette and the brush. Okay, So if you ever want to show me your painting tonight, just hold it up. And I'll scroll every once in a while so I can see what you're doing. Or if you don't want to show the whole group, then you can definitely just send me a message on Facebook Messenger. In the past, I haven't been good about checking that during class, and I always tell you that I will, but this time I will. I have it pulled up right next to me on my phone. So I'll have that so that I can see if anybody has questions as we go. Okay. Cool, very cool. For those of you who don't know, you've probably heard me say this a few times. Some of you guys have ultimate paint kits, and what that is basically is, here, let me grab this. It is a paint kit that includes pint sizes of all the paints that we use in class. So you don't have to worry about those little tubs, and you have all the paint you could ever want and wish and need, and you can even have friends over and paint. So this is super cool. And you have your whole set of brushes as well. So I think it's an 11 piece brush set. So you never have to return your brushes to me. You keep them forever. You never have to run by the shop and drop them off. You never have to pick up a kit. And it also comes with 3 of my classes. So you get 3 classes, 3 canvases, all the paints. It's 9 paints, 11 brushes, and a paint pen, because we use paint pens a lot in my classes. So all of that you get for $100, okay? And it doesn't have to be the next 3 classes. You can pick whatever classes you want. Any class after your 3 run up is just gonna be $10 instead of $15 too, okay? Okay, so that was my commercial, la la la, that's good. Looks like everybody's getting set up. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best to teach and pause and teach and pause, because there's a lot to this painting and I have a tendency to get really excited and paint fast, okay? So I know that can be a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're a first time painter. So bear with me, because like I said before, there is a lot to this painting. There's a lot of color. That's really, I think, what we're gonna be focusing on a lot of is color. The shapes are gonna come very easy if you're not super meticulous. So this is gonna be a challenge for you if you are kind of a perfectionist. I want you to try to just kind of loosen up a little bit, loosen up your hands, loosen up your brain. Try not to be super critical of yourself, especially until your painting is done, until you've done the last step, because there's no point in judging it up until the point until it's done, okay? And then you can kind of take a look back at it, and you know, you can put in your final details and whatnot, okay? So this is the color scheme that I'm going to be teaching in tonight. You do not have to paint this color scheme at all. If you're more of a blues and turquoise person, then when I teach, you know, pinks and purples, just use turquoise and blues and greens or yellows or whatever you want to do, okay? You can definitely make this painting your own, okay? There isn't a strict science to my color mixing tonight either. There is going to be a lot of just jumping around with your brush. We're going to grab a little of this, a little bit of that, and kind of dot it here and dab it there, and kind of just move around a lot, okay? Okay, last thing I'm going to say is I know that some people have the tendency to put their brush in the water before you paint. This paint, for the sake of the class, don't mix it with water. It does mix with water, but we want our paint to dry kind of quickly tonight. We don't want it to be super runny, and we want it to be nice and opaque, not so transparent. So try to avoid dipping it in your water before you dip it in your paint. We're just gonna dip right into our paint and let it be super smooth and super bold, and work with it that way, okay? Okay, guys, well, I think a lot of you are looking at me, so it looks like you're ready to go. I think, let's see. Okay. Hi, Amy. Cool. Okay, you guys.
Quick question.
Okay. I heard somebody has a question.
Can you send the photo to me on my? Can you hear me?
Is that Vicky
Can
talking?
you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Hey, Vicky.
Can you send me the photo to my? Yeah. Can you send me the photo to my phone?
I can.
Because I like to look at it on my phone.
Yep. Hey, and I told you that I would check Messenger, and you already sent me a message, and I didn't even check. Sorry. And that's a great point that Vicky makes, you guys. If you have a way to pull up the photo of the painting, do that. It's gonna make it a lot easier tonight. So you can find it on our Facebook page. Just go to the Humble Life store and you can scroll down to the main post and pull that up on your phone or on an extra iPad or something like that so that you have it for reference. I do show this often, but not often enough, okay? There you go. Thanks, Vicki. All right, you guys. So if anybody else has any questions, now's a great time. Otherwise, we're gonna get going, okay? Okay, cool. So where do we even begin? Let's see here. I'm gonna put my painting up here so I can stare at it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do, typically when you're in a paint class with me, is we work on our background first, but actually we're not going to at all. Our background is just a shape. It's not even a background. Our background is so full of color and texture that we're gonna be kind of working that in the round the way we work our flowers. So what we're gonna do first is actually just kind of map out all of our flowers and where that's gonna be, okay? So I don't know who has painted and who hasn't, but tonight is going to be a lot of mixing on our canvas instead of mixing on our palette. This is gonna be a painting of chance. It's gonna be very unpredictable. So it's gonna be a challenge for some, but it is very fun if you can kind of take that chance, okay? So this is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna start with our palette like this. I'm gonna take my clean brush. I'm gonna go into my white. So I have white on my brush. And I'm gonna go into a little bit of red. I have white and a little bit of red on my brush, okay?
April, I'm sorry, what size brush are we using first?
Oh, sure. We're using a size 6 flat.
Okay.
Okay, and that is the only brush that we're using tonight. This is a one brush wonder, okay? The whole thing, okay? All right, y'all. So here, let me move this actually over this way. I have a whole new setup here at the shop now that we have the smoothie bar up and running. I got to get reacclimated to my space. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at my canvas and I'm going to decide where I am going to want my flowers to be. Okay, so I'm going to follow the same composition as my other painting and we're going to go like this. I got my brush. I'm going to draw a circle in this area, okay? Now, I'm also gonna say everybody's painting is gonna come out different. So put your shapes in the same general area as where I'm doing and you're gonna be just fine, okay? So we've got kind of a pinkish circle here. So I'm taking my brush, I'm gonna dab it into a little bit of purple now. I have not washed my brush. Right underneath it, I have a smaller circle, okay? And then kind of right next to it, I have another one. Look at me pausing. I'm proud of myself. While we have that purple on our brush, go ahead and put another circle right out here. Okay, so we've got 3 purple circles and a pink. I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna wipe it on my paper towel. Okay, just kind of wiping off that paint, not washing my brush. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna take a big chunk of my white here and I'm gonna bring it over to my red and I'm just gonna mix up a little bit of, just a little bit of a pink. Okay, grab a little white, mixing up a little bit of pink right here, right off the side of my red. Y'all see that? I like really tropical colors, so whenever I mix pinks, I tend to grab a little bit of yellow like this, and I mix it in with my pinks. It makes more of a flamingo-y kind of color, and I love that. Okay, so that's what I tend to do. I also, whenever I mix colors, I like to leave them very marbled on my palette, so not fully mixed. My brush reflects that. My brush, I can see yellow, white, pink, dark pink, flamingo pink. I can see all the colors on my brush right now. And that's really great because when you start painting, you're gonna get a wide range of color. And that's that whole chance thing you're taking when you paint like this too, okay? So I got my flamingo pink. I'm gonna lay in a little bit of that color right up in here. May as well just go all the way around. I'm being very messy, okay? I'm not painting a perfect circle, and when I paint in my circle, I'm being kind of scribbly. That's kind of the name of the game tonight, is being kind of scribbly, okay? We're gonna go ahead and use this flamingo pink to lay in another shape up here, okay? And it's kind of circular, but it has some angles as well. See how it's not a perfect circle? It's kind of angular. It's kind of weird. Okay. All right, I'm gonna use this color and I'm gonna put in another circle over here that's kind of up towards my corner. Now it is not directly aligned with this circle. I'm gonna bring it over and up. It's up in this corner a bit and it's big and it goes off the side, okay? I'm gonna fill that in. Once again, I'm being very scribbly, very messy. I'm gonna paint off to the side too of my canvas. Okay, so it kind of wraps around the side there. So you'll probably notice when you're painting, you might be getting some areas of your circles that might be a little more pink or a little more yellow. All kinds of different colors in there. This painting really is just just a series of circles and a lot of just weird lines that don't, you know, just end up adding up to something. Lots of layers. I'm gonna wipe my brush off again on my paper towel. Your paper towel is probably gonna be beautiful tonight. Some of you know how much I love paper towels, almost more than the paintings. Okay, so my brush is still dirty. Okay, I just wiped off the clumps of paint, right? So now I'm gonna grab a tiny corner of blue. Can you guys see that? I have like the tiniest little corner of blue paint on there. And I'm just gonna kind of dab it into my white and make a really nice light blue real quick. And I'm gonna paint a light blue circle right here. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see it because it's so light, and then another one that's bigger right up here. So there you go. Super messy. I might even just grab, just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna grab a little bit more blue. I'm gonna make those a little bit darker. I'm gonna fill them in. Now this kind of painting, it doesn't matter if you use gobs of paint when you're painting or if you're just using a little tiny bit of paint to paint in a nice thin layer. I know a lot of times when you paint with me, I stress to paint in nice, thin, even layers. That's not the case tonight. You can be as gobby as you want to be, okay? You can just layer on that paint however you want. You don't have to worry about anything drying. In fact, it's probably better if we're gonna take these flower by flower pretty soon. We're gonna be painting wet paint on wet paint so we get some really nice variation and some really pretty blending. So that's gonna be working in our favor. I'm gonna show you real quick just what my palette looks like so you can kind of see how I bounce. Okay, so I make my pinks right by my red, and I'm making my blues kind of over by my white right now because I'm only taking a tiny bit of blue and bringing it over to my white. Okay, that's just how I do it. Okay, since we still have blue on our brush, I'm gonna take that blue and I'm gonna bring it over to this flower that we started. I'm just gonna press in some of that color. Give it another layer. Notice that, you know, my pink outline is not perfect. My blue on the inside is not perfect. It doesn't matter. Okay. while I still have this blue on my brush, I'm gonna draw some kind of leaf figures right in this area. They're like almonds. So I'm gonna take my brush, and the cool thing about this brush is you can hold it 2 different ways. Some of you already know this because you paint with me often, but you can hold it a wide way and you get like a nice thicker mark like we did up here, okay? Or you can turn it on its side and you can get some nicer, more thinner marks, kind of like this. See, I'm painting on the side there. See how thin that mark is? Versus I'll paint that same mark, but I'm gonna do it thicker. See the difference? Okay, so I'm turning my brush on its side and I'm getting these really nice thin marks. And I'm just gonna paint in 3 leaf shapes, okay? Like almonds. And they're kind of coming out of that purple flower area. Kind of, sort of. Okay. I'm gonna do a couple more of those on the other side over here now. Let's see, I've got 4 of them. I'm gonna try to fit them in. I'm gonna do one right in this area, kind of coming out to the side. I've got another one kind of a little bit lower down here. I'm gonna fit another one in right here. Kind of, sort of. See, these don't really make sense. They're just kind of whatever. Kind of hanging out. I'm gonna wipe off some of that blue. I'm just gonna grab some white. Now, I already have like blue and pink and all kinds of caked on color, but I'm just grabbing plain old white right now because I wiped off my brush. And I'm gonna use this to make another circle over in this corner. And what I call this is just dirty white because it has all the different colors kind of mixed in and you don't really know what's gonna happen. And I love that sort of pastel color that it kind of just makes. So here, you can kind of see that better when I hold it up. See how I used white, but it kind of just comes out with some different colors. Love that. Now, my flowers tonight are probably going to be a bit bolder in color than the original painting because as I'm painting, I'm seeing on the screen, just because of the lighting in here or just the way that it appears, you can see my lines better when I paint more boldly. So feel free to add a lot more white than what I suggest if you want a more pastel color scheme tonight, okay? Okay. All right, so let's see. We've got one more flower that we've got to throw in here. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm wiping it again on my paper towel. And this time, so you can see my brush is pretty, you know, it's clean here, right? There's not much on it, which is good. I'm gonna take a little white. I'm gonna bring it over to my yellow. I'll show you this.
Hey, April, can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me, how do I show her?
So bottom, is that Marcy? Bottom,
Yeah.
bottom left, you can see video. Yeah, hey guys.
Hey, so mine aren't like touching like yours. Is that an issue? Should I draw another circle there? Or?
Yeah,
Not
so that's a great question. So what you could do is, do you have, let's see, do you have, okay, I see, your 2 right here. Okay, so yeah, what you could do is in between your blue one and your pink one, yeah, draw in a circle there for sure. Or that, and you can make your leaves extend just a lot longer and bigger if you want to.
Okay.
But that's it, yeah, and that's for everybody. Y'all plug in flowers wherever you want, okay? So you can really compose this however you want it to be, okay? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, so we're gonna grab a little bit of white and bring it over to our yellow. So I have a super pastel yellow, okay? It might even have like a tiny bit of pink in it, I don't know. And we're gonna make one more flower right in this area, okay? I might even I might even overlap one of my leaves a little bit because I feel like, you know, I'm gonna have my vase in here, right? So I want my flower to be nice and big. So I am overlapping one of my leaves a bit, and I'm just gonna move that leaf somewhere else here in a moment, but I'm gonna go ahead and fill that in. And I want this one to be a little bigger than my purple one, okay? So you wanna put that in, and you wanna remember you're gonna have a vase right in this area, okay? So now would be a great time to, we have a couple more leaves to add in, but now would be a great time to kind of just look at your painting, kind of like what Marcy was doing, and decide if you have any areas that are a little bit larger in some places, you can plug in a couple of other circles in different colors. And you'll get the hang of how we're painting these tonight, and you'll be able to paint them no problem, okay? So I'm gonna just take this yellow. I'm just gonna, because I have it on my brush, I'm just gonna take it and just kind of smear it off on this flower towards the center here. That's kind of the name of the game. If you see a little bit of color on your brush, just figure out where you can scrape it off. Okay. I might even put a little bit up here. Just a little, okay. I'm gonna wash my brush. So what I do is I just put it in my water, and I swirl it around, tap it. I wipe the water off on the sides, and then I take my paper towel that's turning into a masterpiece of its own, and I wipe all the water off the bristles, kind of sandwich it in between there. You really, the most important thing besides the bristles is really just getting the water off of this metal part, okay? You'll start painting and you'll have a water droplet that will just kind of slide down your brush and onto your painting, and that's no fun. So I'm gonna scroll across the top, make sure nobody has any questions. Everybody's doing okay. Cool. All right, you guys. Oh, looking good, Amy. I like your bright colors. Super pretty. Super pretty. So some of you, well, most of you guys have your names. If you don't, if you didn't change your name, you can do that by putting your cursor over your picture up at the top here, and I think you right click and you can click rename. If you haven't renamed you, if I don't know you, I do know some of you that haven't renamed, but if I don't know you, or if I can't recognize your face, you might want to tell me who you are so that I can call you by name if you show me something, or
I'm Savannah. I don't know if I renamed myself.
Yep, you did. Savannah Marco, I see you.
Okay, cool.
You're good. Thank you, Savannah.
Thank you.
Did you end up getting a smoothie?
I did, and
Good.
it was awesome.
Good.
I got the lavender vanilla.
Lavender Dreams?
Yeah, super good.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. Yay. Hannah Page and somebody with an R, but cool. Now I know your faces to names. Great, great, great. Okay, anyway, if you can't do it, don't worry about it. Don't.
There's 4 of us. There's 4 of us on here.
Okay, Hannah Page, who else?
Rachel.
And Priscilla. Hannah Page, Rachel, Priscilla. Hannah Page, Rachel, Priscilla. Okay, thank you. I wanna be able to know that. Okay. Hannah Page, Rachel, Priscilla. Okay, cool. Okay. Anyway, guys, let's keep going. Thank you guys for changing your name so I can call you by name. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so your brush, we cleaned it, right? That's a cool first. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of white paint, bring it over to your green, okay, just a little bit. And we're gonna draw in some leaves that are over on this side over here. Just those almond shapes again. So I'm gonna come down like that. Then I've got 2 that kind of come out here. Kind of like that. Okay. So overall, this is what we're looking at. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna wipe that green off. Actually, I'm just gonna wash it off real quick. Wash it, get it off. I'm gonna jump into some more light blue. For me, it's gonna be a little bit bolder, but you wanna keep yours really pretty and pastel. We're gonna draw in our vase. Okay, so your vase is gonna come right down here between these two flowers. And all it is just, it's just two perpendicular lines. So you wanna draw them down like so. And while I have this blue, I'm gonna just go ahead and relocate this leaf that I did right here. And if you need to do that too, so I'm just gonna redraw it. I'm gonna pull it down here like so, okay? Something like that. There. See how I did that? I just drew right on top of it. So you can do that with any of your shapes here. You can always make them bigger, smaller, whatever you need to do. Okay. Okay. So I think this next part is kind of fun. So we're gonna work on our small background that we have down here, okay? So I have not washed my brush. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my brush that has a little bit of blue and white on it. I'm probably just gonna get a lot more white here and just really get that white going, okay? It's called activating. When you activate your paint, you just kind of stick your brush in it and you get it moving around. Okay, now I'm gonna warn you, black paint is super powerful, okay? So tread super lightly when you're using black paint. You can always add more to your grays, but you can't take it out, okay? So once it's in, it's in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take just a corner of my brush and I'm gonna put it right there, like so. So I'm gonna make just kind of a very light gray. A little bit more. Okay, and it's very marbled. Okay, so it's just a nice light gray. And if you start painting with it and you think that it's too dark, then just make it lighter by adding white, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be very scribbly, okay? So here's my lines. I've got paint on my brush. I'm going up and down by my vase, coming around my shapes. Okay, I'm smearing it in. I do not want a solid block of color here, okay? Hang on, I'm gonna go and close my blinds real quick. It seems like the glare is still coming in. Okay. Yeah, I do this every paint class, so you would think by now I would just do it before class starts, but I just love our view so much. All right, so you can kind of see, you see how kind of scribbly that is, okay? So every time I go back to my palette, I'm gonna pick up a slightly different gray. And what I mean by that is like this next time, I might actually pick up a little bit of that like flamingo pink, and I'm gonna mix it into my gray. Okay, so now I have a little bit of like that weird flamingo pink, and I'm gonna smear it. And you can see it ever so lightly. I mean, it is like ever so light in there, but it is there. And it's weird and it's kind of interesting and it's a point of interest and it just makes for a nice, interesting painting, okay? So I'm gonna smear my gray paint, whether I'm adding a little bit of blue or a little bit of pink or a little bit of purple. I'm gonna get right up into these shapes. Okay, and you're gonna wanna paint your sides. That's important. You're gonna wanna paint your sides. Okay, so get all the way there and then to the bottom. It's up to you if you want to paint straight across your bottom here, or if you want to skip a spot for where your vase is and then continue this way. Okay. So I'm just covering space here. I want you to be kind of quick with this part. I don't want you to think too hard. Okay, that's kind of the ticket here. I don't want you to think too hard. Just get the paint on there, smear it around. The less you think about it, I think the more scribbly it'll be. And that's really what you want. Okay, now the point really of one of these leaves here was to kind of cut off this section, okay? And so you can see, like, I've brought my gray paint up here, but I'm gonna stop it right about here. I'm gonna wipe off my gray. I'm gonna take some green here. I don't know if you need to do this or not, but I'm gonna make my green leaf go to the edge of my canvas, so I'm gonna change the composition here because I want this green leaf to stop my gray. So from here up is gonna be other colors. Okay, so I'm gonna just put these back in so you can see them better. But you kind of see how that green leaf just stops right there. So everything else will be gray, okay? And get that green off my brush. Okay, so you can go back, and if you're too nervous to kind of add color to your gray, you can just add a little bit more black, okay? And be kind of scribbly. I think this the more scribbly you let yourself be, the more interesting it's gonna be. Okay, if you feel like you went like too dark, like see how dark that is? It's really easy. All you do is take white and you smear right on top of it. Okay, and you kind of just blend it right back in. It's really kind of fun. Oh, there's a fly flying around here. It's driving me nuts, my goodness. All right. I'm gonna take some of that over here. Okay, don't forget about your edges. Now this part you can always come back to if you want to rework a little bit more as the night goes on. Okay. And I'll show you every time it's going to come out different. Like I might come back to work this again. Here's the final one. You can see the difference. You can see the difference in composition. I'll get you closer so you can see that texture down there. You see how bold that texture is? You can kind of see the color better in this one. You can see how there was like some pinks that were added. Okay. I might add in a little more color, a little pink here. It's pretty. Okay. This is also, you know, one of those sections that you could probably just paint and paint over and over and over forever and ever. So at some point, we are going to have to stop and move on. But like I said, you can revisit this part of your painting a little bit later if you want to, okay? Okay. I'm going to wash my brush, okay? Get all that black and gray off. Okay. I'm gonna just like look at this for a second here. Let's see what we're gonna do. Okay. I think our next step is gonna be just maybe, I say this, I probably don't mean this, but let's go flower to flower. At least let's start with this flower chances are, because we use a lot of the similar colors in each of these flowers, we'll, start painting on this one and get this one kind of close, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, but there's purple on this one and this one too, so these two. So we might end up bouncing a little bit, but we might stay on one flower at a time. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what we're gonna do. Just try to follow me, okay? Okay, y'all. I'm gonna scroll to make sure you guys are ready. I know some of you have heard me say this before too. Sometimes I purposefully teach things quickly so that you act quickly, so that your brain doesn't have time to tell your hand not to do it, or that your brain doesn't have time to build up judgments in your head about why you're not doing it good enough or fast enough or good enough or any of that stuff. So if I'm teaching something kind of quickly, it's because I do want you to take action quickly before you have time to think about it, okay? So there is a rhyme and reason to that. Sometimes I'm just excited and I talk fast, so you never know, okay? All right, everybody's looking good. Okay, guys, so let's jump up into this flower up here, okay? We're gonna start moving around these kind of quickly, so stay with me. I'm gonna say a lot of things, okay? Now the goal here is to stay really sketchy with your paintbrush. You want your motion to be, your range of motion to be big, okay? You wanna be moving kind of quickly. You wanna be sweeping across the canvas, okay? So we're gonna jump into a little bit of purples. So before we do that, I wanna mix up a really pretty purple, okay? I like this purple a lot, but I think for this painting, just to create a little bit more harmony, we're gonna mix kind of a red purple. So I'm gonna pull my red and my purple in together. And always when you're mixing, you wanna grab some white, because that really helps you see what you're mixing. Not too much, but just enough. Okay. So you wanna be heavier on the purple than the red, right? Also keep it kind of marbled. That's pretty. Okay, so I'm somewhere there. The goal is to mix a color that you like to look at. If you don't like this color, pick a different color. Okay. You probably noticed too how marbled that is. Like there's all the colors in there, okay? So you can keep it that way too. That way you never know what you're gonna get when you paint. Okay, so I'm gonna like just wipe off some of those gobs off my brush on my palette. Okay, okay. So here we go. I'm gonna start painting this flower up in here. I want it to be kind of sweeping. I've got my purple. I'm barely touching the canvas. I'm just like sweeping around. I want to be able to see my brush strokes. That is the goal. If you press hard, you're gonna get a lot of color and it's gonna start to smear a lot and you're not gonna get that sort of sketchy effect. And you want that, okay? Don't forget about going across your edges over here because this flower rolls off to the side, okay? So we've got a little bit there. I'm gonna put a little bit in the center here too, just like so. Okay. Okay, so I lied. We're not gonna do any more on that flower. See, I told you. We're gonna use this purple down here now. Same thing. I'm gonna sketch it in. Remember too, to experiment with your paintbrush. Turn it from side to side and see what angle you like to use better. Some will work better with a more flat edge, whereas some will work better with a thin edge, okay? So I just laid in that purple here, all the way around, okay? I'm gonna lay in some purple over here. You wanna be angular with some of your brush strokes. That's what makes this so abstract. I love this flower over here. It's way cool. I'm gonna brush in some of it over here. Look at that, it's coming to life. That's cool. I'm gonna wipe off this purple. In fact, we're gonna be using yellow next, so go ahead and just wash your brush when you're ready. Get all that purple off, all that water off. If you don't still have a really pretty pastel yellow, mix a little. You do want it to be very pastel, very light. I'm gonna take a little bit of that yellow and I'm gonna brush it right into this flower. Just lightly sweeping the canvas. I mean, I'm hardly touching the canvas. Just sweeping that color in. My flower down here isn't very yellow, so I'm just gonna put some more down here. I don't know, yours might already be nice and yellow, but mine's not. Okay. There's some yellow up in this flower too. Okay. Cool. You can wash your brush again. We're gonna use some light blues. So if you don't already have light blue on your palette, go ahead and mix them up. Very light blue. Very pastel. Keep it marbled. That's what mine looks like. Kind of crazy, right? All that stuff going on in there. Okay, this is really gonna start shaping some things up here. I'm gonna start down here. I'm just gonna sweep a little bit of this in. Here and here, not much down in there. I'm gonna come up here, sweep some more around here. What I'm gonna do up here now is I'm gonna kind of wipe, just kind of roll some of this blue off. I'm gonna pick up pure white on my brush. Do you see that? Big gob of pure white on my brush. I'm gonna press that in, really gob it in there, make a mess of that, okay? I'm even gonna do that a little bit on this flower down here. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of that light blue, lighter blue up in this area. Just kind of everywhere. Okay. You can either wash your brush or wipe your brush. I'm gonna wipe my brush. So it's nice and got all the gobs off, most of the color, and I'm gonna go into a little bit of purple, but I'm actually gonna grab a little white and I'm gonna mix a light purple like we did the blue and the yellow, but I'm gonna mix it from the purple that we mixed. Does that make sense? So the red purple that we mixed, this one right here, I'm just mixing a really lighter version of that one right here. Okay. Our palette is all over the place tonight. I love it. If at any time we mix a color that you just love, put it everywhere. This is one of those paintings, if we're mixing colors you love, put those colors everywhere, not the ones I'm telling you to do, okay? All right, we're gonna put in a little bit of purple down here, that nice pretty purple around that edge. So your goal at this point, guys, is really to start filling out your flowers. So you don't wanna see a lot of the canvas showing through. Now we're getting onto some of the layers where, like this one, I don't have any canvas showing through on this one down here that we just did. Okay, so if you do, fill it up with more color, okay? I'm gonna jump up here. I'm gonna add a little bit of lightness to this flower. Just kind of here and there, kind of fill it out. Make it a little more round. There's a little bit of purple in this one too. My paint is still very wet up here, so I'm painting wet paint on wet paint. I love that. Okay. This color is everywhere. It's in this guy. I'm gonna throw a little bit of it in here. So I'm starting to lay it in a little more angularly, less round. Let's put some in here too. Let's fill it out. Fill out that flower. It's kind of, I guess, in most of the flowers. We'll fill some in here too. Why not? Okay. Let's just go ahead and fill this one in. Okay, so you kind of get the name of the game. We're just hopping around with color. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You know, see, I just out of impulse, I just scraped a little bit of purple down here on this yellow flower, right there on that curve. That's not in the original painting, but I just looked and I saw and I did it. So, you know, if at any time you just want to kind of hop around and move some colors around and smear them around, you know, that's kind of how we're doing it. Okay, I'm gonna wipe off my brush again. And I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna make a lighter version of our like flamingo pink. Okay, so if you don't remember, that was yellow and red that was mixed together, mostly red and white, okay? And then I'm just adding a little bit of white to that. I just wanna fill this guy in. See, it's just a nice, soft, pretty pink. Okay. I'm gonna start putting in some of that over on this flower too. Let this flower take some shape. A little bit over here. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Why not? A little bit over here. I'm gonna kind of streak in some of this color over here on these leaves. Might just fill that one in. See, I'm just kind of streaking the color in like this. A couple, a little bit in here. Put a little bit of this pink up in this one too. Okay. Okay. I'm not gonna wash my brush. I'm just gonna kind of roll some of that paint off. I'm gonna get really bold here for a second. I'm gonna grab some red and I'm gonna pull it down into that light color that we just mixed. And I'm just gonna make a nice bold, not, you know, it's not really a red, it's more of a pink for sure. You see that right in there? Okay, I'm gonna take that color. This is really gonna make some of our flowers pop. I'm gonna be super messy. I'm just gonna lay it on, okay? I'm just gonna smear it. See how I did that? That wasn't even a technique. That was just smearing. I'm just gonna smear the paint on. That way I don't really have a lot of control, okay? I'm gonna come up here a little bit, round that out. I'm gonna be super wispy over here and just like lightly wisp some of that in without, you know, too much. Maybe a little bit right here too. Okay, that's pretty. I think I want a little more of that. I'm gonna do a little more. Okay. While my paint is still wet, I love working wet paint on wet paint. I'm just gonna grab a little white and I'm gonna smear, I wiped off that dark red, that dark pink, and I have a little bit of white. Just for variation, I love painting right on top of wet paint. See what's happening? See all those pretty marks? I love that. You can do that anywhere. Just grab a little bit of white. Just mixes colors for you, just, you know, without even really trying. Okay. We're moving right along, guys. We're doing good. We're doing good on time. Doing good on technique? Filling it out? It's crazy how much like thought and layer goes into, you know, just like spheres of color, right? There's so much to it. There's so many layers to it. I'm gonna scroll across the top and see if anybody has questions. I'll show you, this is where we're at. This is where we're going, okay? A reminder too, if anybody gets tired and just needs to take a break, this is being recorded, so I'm more than happy to send it to you later, okay? Just make sure you put, ooh, Vicky, look at that. So pretty. So pretty. Beautiful colors, nice and bold. I love it. Super cool. Hey, Barbara, I love your blues and greens. I love that you're doing that. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Hey, Natalie. Cool. Super cool. Okay. Nice, Savannah. Hey, guys.
You're unmuted now.
Hey, April.
Hey, Marcy.
So should there be like a lot of blankness? Is something gonna go there?
Okay, so in the original painting, we're gonna have some blue, dark blue, and some green stripies that go over there. So if I were you, I would put in like maybe you could do like, I wish I could show you your painting. You could do like more leaves coming upward from your bottom flower.
From this one?
Yes, you could do more
Okay.
leaves coming up that way, or you could put in a whole nother flower there right underneath
Okay.
more leaves. Just
Okay.
you can really compose it however you want and you'll be fine. Your goal is
Okay.
you want to cut off the edge. You want to get to that edge so you can
Okay.
create a different space. Okay, just
Okay.
divide that space. Yeah.
Is this going okay?
Hey, Tasha. Yeah, it's going great. I love your loose brush strokes. That is awesome. You're doing a great job just laying that color down.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks, April.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys. Cool. Okay. Well, you guys, it's 8 o'clock right now. I'm gonna give y'all a 5-minute break. If anybody needs to just go grab some water or a drink or run to the restroom, or you just want to work on your painting for 5 minutes without me talking at you, now is a great time to do that. Okay, so I know that was requested in some of my past classes, is just having a break. So this is your break. You have 5 whole minutes. I will try my hardest not to talk to you, give you some peace. I'll put up the original painting for you and the one that we're working on right now. Let me see. So you can see where we're at and where we're going. Let's see if I can angle everybody. Yeah, kind of, sort of. Let me see.
Yeah. So looks.
Oh, that looks great, Hannah, Paige, Rachel, and Priscilla. Okay, there. You guys can kind of see those. Can't see everything, but you get the idea. Okay. All right. You got 3 minutes left on your break, guys. All right, you guys. Okay, let's see here. Everybody still doing okay? Catching up? All right, y'all. So I think we should take a break from our flowers for a moment or two and work on our background for a little while and start getting that kind of filled in. And once that kind of starts getting filled in, then we can see what our flowers need and we can go from there. So let's see here. So our backgrounds are crazy. There's lots of blues, lots of greens. They're kind of all over the place. So we'll just move compartment by compartment and just see what needs to happen as we go. I say that every time and then we end up bouncing around, right? All right, so I'm washing my brush. And this too, you know, this is one of those paintings. Once you have it done, it's never actually really done. You can just keep working on it, keep layering it, keep figuring out colors and problem solving and, you know, creating texture. So don't feel pressure to get this done with me tonight, okay? You can always just keep working on it to make it something that you love, okay? Okay, so let's start working on this background. So the first thing I'm gonna do is let's mix a like a navy blue, okay? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna use a tiny bit of black. I'm gonna bring it over to my blue and just mix it in so I get a nice dark color. It can be as dark as you want or as bright as you want, whatever you want. Okay, give me a second to mix that. I'm gonna fill in this section over here. Okay, it doesn't matter really if you have nice flat color or if you're kind of scribbly. We just want to get this section over here nice dark blue. Now everybody's composition is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so for example, my original painting, I kind of, you know, my dark blue ended like right over here by where this leaf and this flower come, right? Okay, but in my painting here, my composition's different. So I'm gonna have to pick a different spot where my dark blue is gonna end. So I might just pick, you know, right, you know, I'm gonna pretend like my leaf did touch my flower here, even though it doesn't. And that's where I'm gonna go with my dark blue, okay? I'm gonna fill that in. And then don't forget about your sides. You want your painting to be nice and polished when it's all done. You don't have to take it to a framer to get it framed. It's the edges are already done, so you can hang it right up on the wall and be super proud of it, because I'm sure it's amazing. Okay. Okay, there's our first section. Okay, I'm gonna paint this top section up here kind of navy-ish too. Okay, now when I get close to my flowers, I'm being very quick and I'm being very sketchy and very jagged, okay? I don't mind if blue gets on my flowers. I don't mind at all. Okay, okay. I'm gonna come up over this flower, bring in a little bit of color over here. And I'm just gonna kind of, I might even grab like a little bit of white on my brush. So now I have blue, black, and white on my brush. You gotta be careful here because you don't wanna start mixing gray blues. But I just wanted to bring in some lightness over here. See, it's kind of streaking in some lightness. It's pretty. Okay. There we have it. Our 2 dark blue navy spots, okay? I'm gonna wash my brush. So my brush isn't super clean, but it's clean enough. I'm gonna jump into my green, and my green is right next to my yellow and a little bit of my blue here too. So I'm just gonna kind of mush my yellow and my green together here. That's gonna make kind of a limier green. I don't want it too limey, but you know, nice and bright. That's pretty, that works. And that's the color that I'm gonna mix into this section here. Once again, I'm being very sketchy. Laying in that color. Okay. Don't forget about your edges. Greens tend to be a bit more transparent, so you'll find when you're painting with this, you might be able to see the canvas kind of show through a little bit. That's okay. Or it might just appear to be a bit more streaky. That's great for this painting. Okay, love that color. Okay, so while my paint is wet, this is important, okay? So if you're not here yet, just watch, but I need to do it because my paint is wet. I haven't washed my brush, but I'm gonna jump into my navy blue, and I'm just gonna come in and streak in some of this navy while my paint is wet, just adding some texture, okay? There's no really wrong way to do that. I just kind of sketched it in, okay? I'm even gonna take a little bit of navy with the thin side of my brush, and I'm gonna bring it in around my, oh, that's very dark. Hang on, let me get more navy, less black, more blue. I'm even gonna sketch it in around my flower. Kind of coming out this way, okay? I'm gonna put a touch of navy up here as well, around this flower. You know, it's kind of already there, but I'm just gonna bring it in and bring it around. This, like, you know, navy is kind of what holds this whole painting together. It's the darkest color in our painting, and it's scattered throughout everywhere. So your eye just bounces around the canvas following that navy color. So it's important. I have it on my brush still, and I'm using the thin side of my brush. So remember, this is the thick. You turn it on its side, that's the thin. I'm gonna use that thin side, and I'm just gonna draw in a navy line on that leaf. Some navy lines on this leaf, maybe just a little bit right there, just a swoop, okay? And the last thing we're gonna do with this navy, while we have it on our brush, we're gonna add a little bit of it in our vase, okay, that we haven't really touched yet. And it's just gonna be a line down here, a line up here, and a cross line like so. That's just gonna be the beginning of our layers down there. Okay. There's a little bit of it up in here, but we might revisit this as well. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna wash my brush. Okay. So you remember that lime green color that we made? I'm gonna grab a little white and I'm just gonna mix it into that and I'm gonna make a lighter version of that color. So I just grabbed white and I mixed it right into that color that we made. And I'm gonna paint this area up here with that color. Okay, so I'm gonna just start up here. Okay, I'm gonna come around here, get my top edge. Come around the sides. Okay, and even go back here. Now this corner, it tends to get a little grayer. If you want, you can grab a little bit of your gray and mix it in with your green, just for something interesting over here. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna put this color, this like gray-green color in this area also. See how it changed? It's so much darker than this. I mean, I didn't do anything except for grab. I think I just picked up a little bit of a darker gray since my palette was so marbled. So that's cool. You want a nice change. I think that might be too dark. Okay. Filling in those spaces, right? I'm gonna put a little bit of that gray green over here too. We need a little space in between our leaves, right here. Your composition might be a little bit different and that's okay. Okay. I might even, I have some little spots here and there. And if you have some little spots, you can pick a color, any color, and start putting them in. So at this point, your whole canvas, edges, sides, should be covered except for your vase and a couple of spots on our flowers, and these leaves are pretty underdeveloped, okay? So we've covered our canvas at this point, for the most part. That's pretty awesome. One of the last things that we're gonna do with our gray green is, well, we got two more things we wanna do with this color. So I'm gonna lay in a little bit of it with our green leaves down here. Just kind of fill those out a little bit more, right? And then I'm going to, with the thin side of my brush, and get some of this gray. With the thin side of my brush, so you wanna make sure you don't have any gobs on your brush, so you don't want your brush to be super thick with paint. If you wanna wipe it off on the side, you can. So with the thin side of my brush, I'm going to just draw some lines back here. I like to start in the middle. I'm just gonna angle them up, and I go down, just to create a pattern for my background, and I'm gonna go up. One more paint. Okay. Once I have those here, I'm gonna just turn to the side and I'll carry them over the edge of my canvas. So it's important that you do that with the thin side of your brush. You don't want to apply a lot of pressure so you have a nice thin line. If you press hard, if you're heavy-handed, you're going to get a thick line. Okay, so if you want a thin line, just barely touch the canvas. Okay, kind of just be very feathery. Okay? And here's the difference. Look at how many more I have in this painting than in this painting. See that? So everybody's composition is going to be different. You just gotta make it work. When you get done with your gray-green, you can go ahead and wash your brush, and then we'll go to our next step. So with a clean brush, we're gonna do some more texture in our background. We're gonna do this texture up in here, and then we'll move up here, okay? Then our background will be pretty done. That's exciting. Okay, so this background part, hey, it looks good. I don't know if that's Hannah, Paige, Rachel, or Priscilla, but one of you, it looks really good. Everybody else is doing okay, it looks like good. Okay, so let's work on this background. Okay, so there's a lot of movement back here, okay? So if you don't already have light blue mixed on your palette, I do. Go ahead and mix a little, just light blue. So it's just blue and white. It can be as light or as bright as you want. This is your painting. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of that. Up in this section here, I'm just gonna do some, they're like dashes. So I'm gonna put my brush on the canvas and I'm just gonna pull up. Okay, now the cool important thing here is I don't wanna make a pattern. I just wanna put them on here without thinking too hard about it. They all kind of wanna be leaning one direction. So figure out what direction that is and go for it. Okay. Just some dashes. I'm gonna wipe off my brush. My paper towel's looking real pretty. I can't wait to see everybody else's paper towel. Never mind your painting, I just wanna see your paper towel. All right, and then we're gonna get a little bit of, let's get like a little bit of a light, I don't know, like a light pink. It's almost like a gray pink. Okay, so that gray that you've mixed, if you have any more of it, I gotta mix a little more. Throw a little pink and gray together. See what happens. That might work, I don't know, let's see. Put some of that in. Just kind of randomly. Okay, just some dashes up there. I might even go a little bit onto my blue. Just think that's pretty. You don't have to, but I did. Okay. Now, while I have this like pink color, I'm gonna wipe it on my paper towel, but we have a warm color on our brush, so now would be a good time to continue using a warm color. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of that red. And remember earlier we mixed a little white with our red to make a dark pink, okay? So we want that dark pink again. If you still have some, great. If not, mix them up real quick. We're just gonna do some more dashes, but they're just in this corner and they're going out in this direction. So I'm gonna go right in there and I'm just gonna go out. Out to my edges. Okay, like so. And then I'm gonna take the corner of my brush. So I won't be using my full brush. I'm just gonna use a corner of my brush and I'm just gonna dot in some weird looking dots. It's not a circle, it's like a stamp of just a weird shape. You can do them big or little, whatever you want. Just in this area. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna show you the difference in the paintings so far. I mean, we're not, fully developed yet, but you can see like these dots, these little red dots that I was just telling you to do, right in there. Look at how different they look in this painting. See the difference? Okay, so it's a difference in composition, difference in mood. Okay, there's always so many variables. But I'm not done yet. Let's pick up a little bit of green. It can be any green. I picked up that gray green. And I'm just gonna dot some in back here too. Just moosh it in there in any area, wherever it fits. And then I'm just gonna take some of that and I'm gonna like kind of just bounce from this side up, kind of just over, kind of just framing out that area a little bit. Just kind of framing out that flower. He just needed to be pulled out a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit of this color up here too, because I have it on my brush and why not? Okay. I might put a little bit of this green in with my red as well, like maybe make them be like little flowers and now they have like little leaves growing off of them. You don't have to do that, but my area is kind of big over here. So I just want something a little different. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna wash off that color. Now I'm gonna visit this navy blue corner that we have over here. There's a couple of leaves over there. So I'm gonna take some light blue. I'm just gonna fit in a couple scribbly leaves. So I'm gonna do like one, go off the top and around, and another one, and maybe another one down here. Okay, however you can fit them, just that shape. Using the thin side of my brush, I'm also gonna take some green. So I'm doing this kind of quick because I want wet paint on wet paint. And I'm using the thin side of my brush and I'm just gonna pull out those lines a little bit more. Maybe fill that guy in. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with a little bit of pink. I haven't washed my brush. Haven't even wiped it, so don't make brown because green and red together make brown. So I'm just lightly grabbing this color. Just gonna throw in a little bit of pink up there. Okay, not thinking too much about it at all. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna look at this for a minute. You're gonna wanna look at your flowers here in a minute. We're gonna wanna kind of finish those up and kind of get those polished and finished here. Then we can move on to our leaves and then our base. So I'm done with those colors on my brush. So I'm gonna wash my brush. Y'all a minute to kind of get there too. Mhm. Excuse me. Okay, let's see. Here. Here, Amy, instead of just texting you, I'm gonna tell you. So if you mix, I don't know if you made that turquoise that you were trying to mix. Let me find you up here. Where are you? There you are. You might be able to mix a brighter turquoise if you just mix yellow and blue together, heavier on the yellow, instead of adding in that green. I just tried it. I got a different one. So I don't know, but these colors tend to be a bit more muted. So it's hard to get that vibrancy that you see in that picture. Yeah, but try just yellow and blue and be heavier on the yellow and see what happens. Okay. Okay. Anybody else having color issues? Trying to get a color? Can't get it? You're just kind of going with it? Okay. Cool. There's so many colors in this painting. So much going on. Okay. All right, y'all. So clean your brush. Get all the water out of it. Take a look at your flowers and see if there's any one. I mean, there's a couple on my canvas that look underdeveloped, so we're going to develop those a little bit more. We're going to put in the dots and the centers and some texture. And after we do that, just take a look at your flowers and you can see, you know, if there's anything that you just want to add to your flowers and you know, add texture or just bring out or whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's see here. So this one, this purple one, let's visit this guy first, okay? So I'm gonna go right into my plain purple, not the purple that we've mixed, it's just the original purple color, okay? I might put like a dot of red in there, just because why not, you know? And I'm gonna fill this center in. Okay. Now, if you like this color, you can put it in other places. So I might put it a little bit up here, bring it out. I think we already have purple up here, but I'm just gonna put in a little bit more because we also put in white. Okay, so you see how I'm kind of just like looking across and just seeing, you know, if I like this color, you know, why not use it? Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of smear it in some places. Okay. So my flowers, there, you know, there's at least 3 colors on every flower. Okay. If that's not the case for you, oh, except for this guy. I'm just gonna grab like a little white and smear some on. Maybe my purple will come off too. If that's not the case for you, look at your flowers and just add more color to them. Okay. Like if you have a more pastel purpley blue, you might consider adding a little more yellow. If you have this brighter pink one, or more brighter pink colors, you might also consider adding a little bit of purple or even a little bit of yellow too. You know, these down here, you can always add a little more, well, anything, honestly. You can, I mean, it's so hard to say. You can almost add any color to any of these. But make sure you have at least 3 colors on every flower, at least. You probably have way more than that. Okay, I'm gonna fill him out a little bit more. You want them to be very brush strokey. Okay, I'm just putting down color and leaving it. You want your lines to be really kind of broken. Like I'm gonna add a little more blue up here. But see how I'm just leaving the line and leaving it alone? Just putting it on, moving on, putting it on, moving on, okay? bouncing. Okay, you can bounce around. I'm bouncing around with a little blue right now, just because. Okay, so kind of just feather that in a little bit, okay? Okay, so once you have that, your flowers are kind of evolved, we're gonna do the centers. Okay, so when you do something like this, we're gonna be using the corner of our brush. So it's very important that you wash your brush, and then you take your brush with your fingers and you flatten it. Okay, so I'm flattening my brush. And this is an older brush, I'm using an older brush. So my bristles are already kind of crazy, but it's just important to just flatten it. Okay, the best you can. You're gonna be using the corner of your brush. You're gonna pretend that it's almost like a detail brush, okay? I'm gonna go into some of this dark pink or even red, and I just have it on the very corner of my brush, just the very corner, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just dot it into the center of my flower up here in this corner, this blue one. See that? And I'm gonna do that for this one too, although this guy is gonna have his little dots closer together and a little messier, just to give him a different personality. And then this one down here, even different, just because I'm holding my brush differently. So see how I got all of those different marks from there to there to there. All those different marks just by holding my brush differently. Okay. All very different. You know, the center of my flower up here, there isn't much to it. I mean, I don't even know what colors are going on in there. There's so much. I might just take some of my darkest, even maybe just some pure red, and just lay that pure red in there. See how dark that is? I'm pressing my brush in there. Okay. I'm gonna lightly feather in some little dots up here too, just light ones. So every flower's center is a little bit different. This pattern, or this painting tonight that I'm doing, seems more patterny, and my original painting just seems more like crazy. So same painter, same painting, but very different. I'm in a more like methodical mood tonight, I suppose. This must have been a stressful day when I painted, I don't know. Not that today wasn't super stressful, but anyway. All right, so I'm gonna wash my brush. I wanna get that red off. And I'm gonna jump in and do the same thing with the corner of my brush. Jeez, okay. I'm gonna get on some, let's get on some of that light, like green gray color. I don't know if you still have that or not, but I'm gonna do the same kind of corner thing, but on this purple flower. Like cool green color shows up really well. It's really pretty. I'm just dotting in some dots. I'm gonna do it on this one too. Okay. And now I might even just pick up like a little bit of light blue without washing my brush and do a couple of little light blue dots over on this flower. Got a little green in there too, a little green mixed in, that's pretty. Over here. Okay, so all of my flowers have dots except for this one down here. And this one, I'm gonna wipe off this blue and green, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of pastel yellow. Even though I have blue and green on my brush, that's kind of the beauty of this, I'm gonna smear some lines. They're like dashes. I'm gonna get some more of this color. But what's cool is that I have blue and green on my brush. And so when I smear them, I'm gonna get kind of a range of color I'm hoping for. Yes, cool, it's happening. Okay, that's cool. You see that? So that's, I had that green and that blue on my brush still, and I picked up some yellow. Okay. Okay. Cool. The next thing we're gonna do is develop our leaves and then our vase. We're doing great. Doing great. Before we move on to our leaves though, how about just take a second and stare at your flowers, kind of like I mentioned before. Stare at your flowers and see if they look finished to you. Now, if any of them are not popping out the way you want them to, what I would recommend is taking some white, and I'm gonna show you my white right now. I think it's amazing. Look at this. I have like all these colors mixed into my white. This is super great for a painting like this because you can go in and you can pick up white that has purple and blue and a little bit of green on it. We call it dirty white. You just pick that up and you can smear it and kind of pull out your flowers with that white, and it'll make them kind of pop, but you get a white that isn't pure white. So I think that's really fun. So I'm just gonna put some white on some of these, on the outsides of them, just to pull them out a little bit. Some of them are getting kind of lost. That feels better. Okay, so. So take a look at yours. See what you think, see what you need to do. Okay. Everybody's gonna feel differently. The best thing though, when you're working on flowers, is if you just let the paint accumulate on your brush. Like for me right now, I have purple and blue and white and a little bit of pink, and every time I paint, I get like this like unicorn color. It's like, it doesn't make sense. It's just this beautiful pastel, unpredictable mess that's just working really well. So I hope that's happening for you. Okay. So I will say though, right now I do have like a, well, let's see. It's a predominantly purple color on my brush. And so I'm gonna take a little bit of that color and I'm just gonna put it on my leaves over here, just like a strip of it. Okay, just really get that on there. Just adding another layer to my leaves. Okay, I might even just, while I'm over here, put on a dot of it over here. It's kind of white, purpley white. Okay. I'm gonna wipe that off. I'm gonna get a little bit of that dark green, that darker green, like that kind of grayish, yellow, green, gray, you know? I don't know. At the end of a painting like this, whatever you have on your palette that's green and you like it, use it. That's what I think. Okay, we're gonna go into these leaves up here, and I'm just gonna streak in a little bit of this color. Okay, like so. So each leaf has a little bit of it. Okay, a little bit down here, not much. Okay, and none over here at these leaves. These are greener leaves, these are pinker leaves, these are, well, these are like all kinds of colors. These are more greener leaves. Yeah, that's kind of what's happening. Okay. I'm gonna wipe my brush off and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of pink. I don't like how bright that is. I'm gonna dull out that pink just a little bit and put that in here. Just a light streak of that. Okay, because I don't want it to be too crazy. I'm gonna put in a little bit of that color here too. Really show where that leaf is folding and, or not folding, but bending. Show that line. So remember, when you're trying to do nice thin lines, you just use the side of your brush. Those of you that have ultimate paint kits, feel free at this point to experiment with your smaller brushes. You could even use your detail brush. You could use like your size 2 or your 4 flats, and you could get all kinds of different effects here for the center of your flowers, for your leaves. There's a whole world of fun in those brushes, so feel free to do that. Okay, so our leaves are almost done, kind of like our flowers. You know, if they're not filled in yet, fill them in with something. Right now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of, I just picked up some pink and a little bit of like that pastel yellow on my brush. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna smear that in there. And that like filled out the rest of my leaves there. Okay. I might add a little white to my brush and that color and smear that in here. Okay, so you can kind of tell at this point, it's kind of like whatever's on your brush goes, right? Okay, I'm just kind of smearing that color in. Wow, that worked really cool. I had so many different colors on my brush, and I laid my brush at an angle, and I got a really nice effect there. Okay. I'm gonna grab a little bit of that light blue and just frame out this guy a little bit better. Frame out this one a little better. Okay. I'm gonna wipe that paint off. I'm gonna grab some green. I'm gonna jump over to these guys right here. And I'm just using the basic green that we have on our palette that we haven't mixed with anything. And I'm just gonna do some like almost like outline-ish lines here and just, there we go. Okay. Forgot an edge over here. Okay. Cool. It's coming together, guys. So at this point, your leaves should be totally filled in. Your flowers should be totally filled in. Everything but your vase. Okay. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. I know everybody's painting is going to be totally different because mine is so different. I can't wait to see them. That's one of my favorite parts about teaching classes is everybody's painting comes out so different. I'll remind you guys at the end of class, but if you want to, send me your final painting and I'll put up a post later of everybody's paintings so everybody can see how different everybody's comes out. That's always really fun. Wow. I just got a message from my husband that my children cleaned their room. They vacuumed the living room and they gave their daddy big hugs. They're 3 and 5. Wow, that's remarkable. Yay, yeah, that's a big deal. They vacuumed. Wow, it's impressive. I just care that they cleaned their room. That's fantastic. Good, I'll come home to a peaceful house tonight. That'll be nice. Okay, that makes me happy. So let's clean our brush and let's work on this vase. This vase is super fun. I'm really excited about this. This is just like a crazy spray of color that doesn't really make sense until you're totally done with it. I don't know if that excites you, but that excites me. I'm gonna scroll, just make sure that everybody's okay. Okay, cool. This is a hard painting, you guys. Y'all have done a really good job sticking it out and doing it. Hannah Page, Rachel, Priscilla. Which one? Who is holding up your paint? Who's holding up their painting? Which one is it?
Rachel.
Rachel. Good job,
Yeah.
Rachel.
See, I think it needs some work.
You know, from here it looks really great. What I can see that's happening is you might be over blending. So like when you lay your color down, you just kind of keep going. You kind of just keep laying it down. So if you feel like it needs work, you might just think about taking the brush and just laying down a streak and then leaving it alone, and lay down a streak and leave it alone. But I like how polished it looks. It's a lot more polished than mine. So way to go.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
April.
Yes.
On the back of my canvas, it's these little thingies. I don't know what to do with those.
Yeah, I
What do
always
you do with
throw
them?
them away. They're for if you're gonna frame your canvas. So if you're gonna frame that, you give it to your framer. They know what to do with them. I always throw them away. I don't even think about them. Yeah. Or save them for like another weird art project or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Look at mine. It's very bold.
Oh wow! Look at that. Look at how
I've
rich
got
the colors are.
burgundy in my bedroom, so that's why I'm
Ah.
using a more burgundy color so it can go in there.
Yes, I love those yellows and the turquoises together. That is fantastic. Beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, Danielle, awesome. Look at that. So cool. So very cool. So wonderfully developed, but perfectly sketchy.
I like bold colors.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Apparently.
Your brush strokes are nice and bold too. That's wonderful. You look like you surprised yourself.
Yeah. It's dark in here too, so it's kind of hard to see, but this
Yeah.
is where it's going to be. So there you go.
There you go. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's good. Good job. All right, you guys. So let's do this vase and we can call it a night, okay? Okay, so bear with me, stick with me. I'm gonna walk us through this, but kind of quickly. So I'm gonna say, pick up your green, wipe your brush, pick up your blue, wipe your brush. Okay, that's kind of the name of the game here. So we already have our dark blues on here, which is great. We're gonna start with light blues, and I wish I could tell you what was gonna be next. We're just gonna have to kind of see how it goes, okay? So I've got a nice clean brush. I have light blue on my palette already. If you don't, grab some. That's an easy color to whip up real quick. So I've got light blue, and my brush is kind of chunky. So here we go. I'm gonna just be kind of bold with my brush strokes at first, okay? And as we develop this, I want you to get more light-handed, okay? So I want you to be pressing lighter and lighter as we go. So the beginning part, you want to be bold because you really want to cover the white parts of your canvas, right? Because this whole part is canvas here that we need to cover. Okay, so here we go. I've got light blue on my brush. I'm going to start right here under this yellow flower. And I'm gonna pull my brush all the way down and just fill that in with light blue. And I'm gonna go across the bottom too. Okay. So I've got light blue there. I might just throw in a little bit up here. You know, when I do this, like I'm being so just back and forth, very sketchy with this, okay? I'm gonna pull that out a little bit. I'm gonna grab just white on my brush and I'm gonna make my vase a little bit bolder here. The edge of it just a little bit bolder. Just feel like it was kind of getting lost there. I'm gonna wipe that light blue off. And let's grab like a little bit of a purple, okay? Any purple is fine, whatever, any purple you have on your palette, I think. We just wanna add in a little bit of this coolness, okay? I'm just gonna add in some little streaks right there. Maybe piggyback off of this guy down here. Okay, I'm gonna wipe that off. Wipe that purple off really good too. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up some of that lighter pink, that lighter like almost salmony color. You know, at this point, you guys, just pick up colors that you like. Colors that match what you've done. okay? This is a nice bold mark. I'm gonna put a nice bold mark starting from this blue one up here, straight down. Okay, over the bottom here. And I'm gonna put a little bit back here too. I'm also gonna put in a little bit up here. Okay. Maybe even a little bit up here. In fact, you know, if you have any white spots up here, see how I'm just kind of like dabbing it in? Okay, I'm gonna wipe that off. Now I've wiped off the color on my paper towel, but I still have color on my brush. I'm just gonna pick up white. In fact, there's white and like a little bit of light blue here. Now watch how I do this and then do it. I'm gonna be very light and wispy here, but I'm just gonna kind of smear, that's very blue. I'm just gonna kind of smear this color with some downward streaks, kind of messing it up a little bit. So I kind of just messed that up. I not only messed it up, but I started covering the other areas of my vase, okay? That's your goal. You wanna just cover the other areas of your vase, okay? So I still have that like light bluish color. Now you see this like triangle space down here? I'm gonna be kind of wispy. I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna treat it like a triangle. I'm not gonna go up and down. I'm gonna go side to side and just kind of fill that in. Same with this area right here. This is a triangle. I want to treat it like a triangle. Those angles are very important. Okay. So I have a triangle down here, triangle right here. Oh, a little like whitish blue line right down the middle there. Okay, now this is the part where we start getting really light-handed. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe that off my brush. And I'm gonna pick up some green. And I just have the color like on the tip of my paintbrush, okay? Just the tip of my paintbrush. And I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna draw in some stems here. So coming out from this area right under my purple flower, I'm gonna just wisp down. Like I have a couple stems. See how quick I'm being? I'm just like, wow, quick, real quick. In fact, I'm gonna make this one even longer. Maybe extend it out a little bit that way. And now because I have some green coming this way, you know, I'm gonna make a few kind of coming out this way. And I'm just kind of like shadowing in that color. I'm just wisping it in. I might put a little bit down here. Okay. I'm gonna wipe off that green. I'm gonna pick up some blue, not the light blue. My navy blue is very navy. I'm gonna pick up a lighter blue that has a little bit of that navy in it, but just a little bit brighter. I'm gonna brighten up this area here. Just kind of wisping that in. Okay, now I'm gonna get even lighter here. So you wanna follow those kind of triangular lines. That's what makes this work, especially down here. You see these stems kind of coming down this way and kind of coming down this way. I mean, there is no, no real rhyme or reason to this painting, right? And so your vase is just equally as kind of chaotic here. I'm gonna grab, I have like blue and purple and a little pink on my brush, but I'm gonna grab a little bit of that light pastel yellow. I'm just gonna kind of smear that in here. It's gonna make kind of a weird gray color, but it's a great neutral and it's gonna kind of just balance us out a little bit. I didn't even mean for that to be so yellow. There we go. Don't forget to kind of hit the bottom of your canvas down here every once in a while. Even if you just like fill it with light blue, okay? Just to get it finished. All right, I'm wiping off the color. Now I'm just gonna grab some white or like dirty white. I don't know what white this is gonna be. It's kind of a gray white. I'm just gonna do like one-ish line kind of down the middle here. Kind of out to the side here. Kind of coming down. Out there, just to kind of break that up a little bit. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do is gonna add a little bit of yellow up here. kind of sprinkle it in. Kind of take a look back at it. I'm gonna call that a night. Okay. So at this point, look at your vase, make sure that you have defined lines on either side, that it's not mixing too much into your background. And if it is, you can do one of two things. You can use light blue or white to really just pull that vase out like a glare, or you can treat your background again and add some darker color closer to your vase. So for example, I will show you because I think I'm going to do that on mine. Let me get some gray here. So closer to my vase, I'll be a little bit darker. See how that's making that blue pop? A little bit of a shadow almost underneath this leaf. Wow, that just kind of changed everything. I'll put even a little bit of darkness over here. Just a little, right? That just changed, that whole vase just popped just by adding a little bit of a shadow back here. Okay, so if that's an issue for you, that's a solution. I gotta get sketchier though. There we go. And remember that background, you can work on that forever. And also too, remember, like you can bounce around on this painting all night. I mean, you can add as much texture and detail and patterns as you want to this painting. That's the cool thing about this painting, is you can really just keep going. You can keep inventing colors and adding layers and pushing and pulling, and I mean there's just so much to it. It's so much fun. So I'll show you. This is the one we did tonight, and this is the original. You can see how different they are. I can't wait to see how different yours is. I've done this painting a few times, and every time it comes out so different. So it's always really fun to do. So I'm gonna scroll. I got paint all over my mouse. My husband's gonna come in tomorrow and be like, great, April. Oops, let's see. Hey, Savannah, I'm sorry. I don't know how long you were waiting for me. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll, see if anybody needs anything. Okay. Natalie, that turned out beautiful. Really beautiful. I like that you pulled out your leaves. Like it seems like they have those like almost like white halos around them. It's really pretty. Really, really pretty.
Hey, April.
Hey, Marcy.
How did we do? We're not sure.
You guys did so good. So
what I'm flowers?
Yeah, so what I'm seeing on your flowers is you guys have lots of layers. They look really awesome, but I almost feel like you could push those layers just a little bit more with some lightness, like super light blues or light purples or light pinks or light yellows. Just a little bit here and there to add some highlights, and everything will pop a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes Emma.
Awesome, Emma. Gosh, all three of you guys so different. I love, oh my gosh, I love that yellow flower at the bottom. That might be my favorite one. That's beautiful.
It's hard to tell with the lighting on here.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to send me a photo of all three of them together like you did last time.
Will do.
Janine, is that you holding yours up? Or is that Natalie? Or is that both of you? Hey. Awesome, you guys. You'll have to send me a photo of both of them side by side. Oh, Denise, I saw yours. That was great. That was great.
So my phone died before we started the day.
Oh no, I just saw you come back in.
So I'm totally winging the vase part here. I don't really know what you did. So maybe I can go back over it after.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I can tell you real quick too, where are you at? What color did we end on?
We were taking a look, a final look at the flowers to see if they were fully developed yet. So,
Gotcha.
so we
Okay.
had a completely blank vase, but the rest of the canvas was covered.
Yeah, well, you just held up your vase. It looks great. Like you don't even seem
Read
to
it.
need me for that part. Well, yeah. Well, then, okay. So what I'll do is I can send you the recording after it
Okay.
converts. Okay, it converts on Zoom, and then I convert it to YouTube. So it'll probably be
Okay.
sometime tomorrow, and
Okay.
then you can just take a look at it and see. Or you can always come into the shop too. I'm here like Friday afternoons and Saturdays. And you can bring
Okay.
your painting and we can work it out if you need to as well. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Savannah.
I thought it was plugged in the whole time.
Dang it. All right, you guys. So, oh, Megan, so pretty. I love, like, your lime greens are so pretty. The lime green and the navy make your pinks pop. So nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I love your leaves at the bottom, the way they're just kind of like dripping down. That's beautiful. Beautiful color. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, you guys. So in case you haven't noticed, I would really love for you to send me a photo of your final painting. Send me a photo of just the painting, or if you're with a group, you know, put them all together so I can see them. I'd love to make a post about this. I have a ton of people who wanted the recording, so I might wait until a couple more people send in their paintings as well, or I might just get excited and post it tomorrow. I don't know. But also send me questions if you have any questions about anything that we went over tonight. If you're stuck, if there's an area that you can't quite figure out, send me a picture of that area, or if there's a color you can't mix, you know, anything. I'll be up late tonight. I'll be at the shop working. And so I'll be here, so I can answer questions for sure. As far as your brushes go, if you borrowed a brush from me, please just rinse it in warm water and then just get all the paint out of it. And then just lay it on a paper towel to dry out overnight. Don't leave it in the water cup. What'll happen is the bristles will actually start to bend and the brush will start to kind of warp kind of funny, and it's hard to get them to get back to normal once that happens. So just take it out of the water, rinse it really well, and just lay it on a paper towel to dry overnight and drop it by the shop next time you're around. That would be awesome. Preferably in the next couple of days. That way, if we need this brush for the next painting class, I can have it to give out to other people, okay? Let's see, anything else? I already told you guys about the Ultimate Paint Kit, so if anybody wants one of those, let me know. I have 2 people that have requested one, so I need to order those supplies, so I'll probably be placing an order for more Ultimate Paint Kits tomorrow. So if that's something that you want on this next shipment, I'm more than happy to order it for you and get it in. So it'll be here before the next class is my hope, if I can get that order out tomorrow. There will be a class next Wednesday, I do believe. I don't know why there wouldn't be, but you know, I don't know anything anymore the way things are going. So I'm gonna go ahead and say there is gonna be class, but that is subject to change. And I guess last thing is just thank you. Thank you so much for painting with me tonight. Thank you for supporting our business through everything. I love doing these online classes. I have taken about a 2-week break, so now we're back and hopefully classes will be steady for a while now. I'm probably gonna send out a survey because I have a couple of new painters tonight. I know some of you have already done this dang survey, so don't do it if you don't wanna do it unless you have a new idea for me, but they're so helpful. You guys have given me awesome feedback about needing more time, talking slower, taking breaks, and then great suggestions for paintings too. So you're always welcome to do the survey as many times as you want, but it won't take long if you haven't done it before. And I think that's it, guys. So I'm gonna
April, as always, thank you.
Good night, Denise. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
You're welcome, Savannah. I'll send you that
Thank-
video when I can.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'm
You
I'm
guys.
Carol. I wasn't able to change my name.
Gotcha. Hey, Carol.
Hey,
Nice to see your face.
it was
Oh,
fun.
you can.
Very cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
Guys.
Bye.
This was so much fun. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
so glad you loved
Thank
it.
you.
It turned out beautiful. So
So
beautiful.
I was doing this, I'm in advance. I'm hoping to get a group of gals from church together to maybe do this.
Sure, that sounds
So
wonderful.
that would be awesome. We came up for a Christmas thing back in
Cool.
Christmas.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I was excited to see you're doing this.
Yeah,
Yay.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy to do it on Zoom, and y'all can tell me what painting you want to do. It doesn't have to be something I've done before. You can send me ideas and
Oh, okay.
we can make something work. Like if you guys just all love chickens, whatever, we can paint a chicken. You know what I mean? It's all good. Whatever you want to do, okay?
All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night. All right.
All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting, but please send me your pictures, okay? Bye, Amy and Holly. Bye, Emma, Marcy, Tasha. Bye, Megan. Bye, Savannah. Oh, Amy and Holly. Is that Holly's? That's so pretty. Those turquoises turned out really pretty. You have a lot of brightness in yours. That's awesome. So Amy and Holly, if you want your bright colors to come out even brighter, you might consider making your background colors even darker. So like your navies navier, your grays at the bottom grayer, okay? If they're darker, your contrast will just automatically make your turquoises and your yellows and your pinks just pop more, okay? Okay. All right, guys. Good night.